Hey guys, it's me again, Eric, and tonight I'm going to talk all about The Mutilator, also known as Fall Break. It was written and directed in 1984 by a guy named Buddy Cooper. Now, Buddy Cooper is from North Carolina. He's a lawyer, and he decided one day back then that he wanted to, go into the film business and make a movie. So he took some script writing courses and kind of learned the craft, so to speak, and did some market research, and he learned that low-budget horror films are a good way to break into the business. These low-budget slasher-type flicks usually turn to profit, so that's what he did. He set out to make a low-budget slasher, and The Mutilator was the end result. And let me tell you, he did a damn fine job, and we're going to just cover all the bases with this movie. So if you're a fan of this flick like me, you'll definitely get a kick out of this. First of all, Vestron Video released the VHS in 1985. Now, they released two versions. They released an unrated edition and an R-rated edition. Now, why anyone would want to watch the fucking castrated R-rated version, I'll never know. I've seen it, folks, and trust me, that version fucking sucks. They take all of the good stuff. You don't see any of the good gore effects in that version. Really lame. The only cool thing about the R-rated edition is if you are a collector, it's cool to have because this is the unrated, okay? This is the unedited version right here. You'll notice it's entirely black. The border's totally black, okay? Look at that goddamn classic artwork on here. I mean, does cover art get any better than this? I don't think so. I mean, it's brilliant here. There's the back. But as you see here, the unrated edition is entirely black. Okay, the R-rated edition, which I don't have a copy of, has a blue border. Has blue on the bottom, it has blue on the side and on the back. Okay, so that's how you differentiate the two versions. Plus, it says down in the corner. Like this one says the uncut version, the other one says R-rated. But this is the one you want to get. If you want to track down a VHS copy and watch it in all its unbridled gory glory, then this is the one you want to get. Okay? The one that's the black cover, unrated. For years, that was the only way to see the movie, was the Vestron VHS. And, I got attached to seeing it that way. A lot of people nowadays, they like everything to be cleaned up. They like it to be totally restored. No grain, no pops. I love all that dirt and debris on the film. I like that low-lit, murky atmosphere that's on that original Vestron VHS. I'm still attached to it. But it is nice to see a nice new cleaned up version, and that's what we finally got in 2016 when Arrow Video released it, and they put out a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack, and this is a copy of that right here. Now this thing is filled to the brim with extras. First of all, it's got reversible artwork. When you reverse this sleeve, it's got the Fall Break poster art, which is also a quintessential slice of slasher artwork. It's a beautiful piece, and I also have a poster of that signed by Buddy Cooper. And so this has a reversible art, and it's nice that when Arrow released this, they didn't go the fucking Scream Factory route and do some stupid piece of shit commissioned artwork. I really am not a fan of that shit. I don't like it when we get the floating head type artwork that's real busy with all this shit going on, These new commissioned pieces that people like Scream Factory do. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the original artwork. That's what I want to see on my DVD and Blu-ray releases. I want to see the original art. Arrow did the right thing by just having original artwork. Now, like I said, filled to the brim with extras, and also it's got a new transfer, and they restored it. What they did was they finally found a fully uncut 35mm print at the Library of Congress. That's the only place they could find one that wasn't all sliced up, because let me tell you, for years, DVD companies and Buddy Cooper have been trying to find usable elements uncut to have for a DVD release, and there was always problems. There were always snags, And finally, at the Library of Congress, Arrow Video was able to track down an uncut 35mm print. And thus, the result is this release, and I highly recommend you pick it up. It's got DVD commentary, it's got interviews, documentary, trailers, the works. This is a great release. It even comes with a little booklet here. This booklet is cool because it also, you know, there's some different write-ups inside it, you know, different people reflecting on the movie. The producer of the DVD gives his 2 cents. But also it reprints an article from back in 1984 when Buddy Cooper did an interview with Fangoria talking all about the movie, the production, etc., etc. So it's great to have that slice of history in here also. I have that issue of Fango, but it's nice to have that article printed in here for everyone who might not have that issue. And so yeah, so I like this release. The transfer's cleaned up really well. And you know, it's perhaps cleaned up too much for some people. Like I said, when I was watching this version, I kind of pined for the way some things looked in this, because this at times looked a little bit too clean. I'm used to this damn thing, so, you know, it's, I love having this, but I still have a lot of fond memories of this release. That's that. Let's get on to the fucking plot, shall we? So the movie starts out at this quaint house out in a nice neighborhood. You hear birds chirping and it's a beautiful day. And this mother is baking a cake for her husband. And she's decorating it, putting the icing on. And let me tell you, that is one teeny tiny fucking cake. I could eat that thing in 3 bites with a bowl of ice cream. But anyway, the son is in the other room and his dumbass decides that he's going to clean every gun in his dad's gun cabinet for him. That's going to be his birthday surprise for his fucking father. Now, this kid is a total retard because he picks the gun up and he takes it and aims it at a wall, pulls the trigger, the bullet ends up shooting his mother right through the goddamn back, and blood splatters everywhere and she falls down to the ground dead as a doornail. I don't know about you, but I really don't understand why this kid is such a fucking knucklehead. You think that a father who would have a gun cabinet like that with that many guns would have taught his son some basic gun safety rules. But I guess not. But I digress. The father pulls into the driveway and walks in, and what do you know? He sees his fucking wife there laying dead. Now, it must be a heavy-duty shock to him because he doesn't even say a goddamn word. He looks over at the boy, goes up to him, gives him a good goddamn backhand right to the face, and then he goes, drags his wife's body into the den, and he pours himself a drink. Like I said, I guess he's in shock or something, but this scene plays off very awkward, stilted, and weird because there's virtually no dialogue at all. So we're just left with the visuals. And you know what? It sets up the movie on a good tone because even though it's awkward and everything, it still gets the movie off to that jolting beginning, because now we're gonna flash forward to the future, and that little prick boy that shot his mom, he's all grown up and he's away at college, and guess what? It's fucking fall break, and him and his friends are just hanging around at this little diner totally bored. They don't know what they're gonna do for fall break. His old man, Big Ed, calls him. Yeah, check this out. The boy's name is Ed. His dad's name, everyone calls him Big Ed. So let's get that straight right off the bat so you know who I'm talking about and we can distinguish between the two. So anyway, Big Ed calls his son and he says, hey, I need you to come and close the beachside condo for the winter or something. He wants him to go and turn the water off and clean the place up and shutter the doors, whatever. Anyway, this place is super nice. It's an oceanfront piece of property. So it's got a great atmosphere and everything. So little Ed and his friends all jump into his convertible and they head off to the beachside condo, ready for some fun times. And this is when the fall break theme starts playing on the opening credits. And let me tell you, that song is very cheesy and it's incredibly dumb. But despite that, the combination of this theme song with the opening visuals, it's got a very heartwarming and innocent quality to it. You know, this isn't postmodern, cynical bullshit like you have nowadays. This was an innocent time in the slasher film era, and I look back very fondly on this time. So even though the song's cheesy, it still just tugs at your heart and makes you remember better times. It's fun seeing the North Carolina countryside as these 6 knuckleheads drive off to meet their unwitting demise. And let me tell you, that's what happens, because when they get to this condo, they don't even think that Big Ed is there. They don't know, but he's lurking out in the garage in like this hidden room. And he's been on a total bender, drinking nonstop, and he's clutching a big fucking axe. And let me tell you, he's ready to hunt these fuckers down one by one, and they don't even know it yet. See, Big Ed is a trophy hunter, and he's tired of hunting animals and catching fish. He's ready to move on to humans, and these 6 bastards are gonna be his primary target. He's still pissed that his son killed his goddamn wife all those years ago, so don't forget about that. That's his primary motivation. When nighttime falls, the kids start to split up, and some of them start to go swimming, and the rest start to drink beer and play Monopoly and play hide and seek type shit. You know, the typical slasher film shenanigans. And this is when the real massacre finally can start to begin. And Big Ed has really got a fucking axe to grind, because the blood is gonna flow thick and hard. And let's talk about some of those gory kills. One guy gets an outboard motor shoved right up to his torso and just shreds it to pieces. And this guy just flails his face around, overacting into the extreme. But it's still a great, gory, bloody, violent death. Definitely a classic. Another guy gets a board shoved right through his cheek. And while blood's streaming down from that, Big Ed takes his big axe and does a clean decap. His head flies right off, and you get to see his bloody torso there with blood coming out of his neck. It's a great decapitation scene, a stellar effect. The jokester of the group gets a pitchfork right through his fucking neck, and this death is very protracted and painful looking. It rivals the Prowler. That's how vicious this death scene is. A classic death in this movie that everyone knows is when the chick gets put on the table, and then Big Ed takes this big fishing gaff and he puts it right through her crotch. Okay, this death is very, you know, memorable. Everyone that is into slasher flicks remembers this death scene, and it's very dark and dismal, painful and bloody looking, and very disturbing, has a disturbing quality to it. Now, I was watching a special feature interview with Mark Sjostrom, the special makeup effects maestro that worked on this movie and that did this stuff, and he was saying that when they did this effect and that fishing hook came through the other side, well, a condom that was stuffed down inside there for the effect came out the other side. It really wasn't supposed to. It was one of those things where they would fill condoms with blood. But it came up with the hook, and when it did, they ended up leaving that shot in. They didn't change a thing because it just made it all the more graphic, because the condom on there looks like a bloody piece of intestine. And I guess the boom girl, the girl that was operating the boom mic, I guess she was like crying while they were filming this scene when Mark Sjostrom looked over at her. So that shows you the power of this scene in particular to disturb people that aren't, you know, jaded by horror flicks. You know, once you've seen all this stuff, it no longer has an effect on you. But back then, when they were making this movie, that was pretty fucking ballsy, having a scene like that in a slasher film. And then in one especially grisly moment, we see a guy entirely bifurcated at the waist, and he's just severed clean in half. And his lower part of his body, you see all the intestines coming out of his waist. It's super gory and very sick. And then his top half is over on the other side of the screen. Just grisly stuff. This movie really, they say that they spilled over 35 gallons of blood while making this movie. And I can definitely believe it. I mean, they really put it up there on display. There's no doubt about that. I like the little touches like how Big Ed keeps taking the different victims, okay? And remember, Big Ed's a trophy hunter. You know, he's always hunted animals and deep sea fishing and all that shit. Well, I like how when he's killing these people, he's also taking them and he's putting them on these spikes on the wall and he's hanging them on the wall like their trophies, like their prizes, okay? And I like, there's one shot in particular where he takes the guy that got his head chopped off. When he takes that headless body and the head and goes to hang it up, there's a flashlight under the headless part, under the body. And when the light from the flashlight is shining up, it creates this very eerie effect, seeing this headless body with the head just a little bit above it and the flashlight illuminating it upward. That's a really creepy shot. Definitely adds to the atmosphere of this sick little movie. It's a nice bit of sinister eye candy for the true horror fans. There are so many pros to this movie, I don't even know where to begin. But let's begin first and foremost at the condo by the beach, right by the ocean. It is a brilliant setting for a horror movie, for a slasher flick. You can't ask for anything better. It has a very romantic quality to it, and what I like about that, now I don't like romantic movies, so don't get me wrong. What I mean by that is because it's by the ocean and you've got, you know, three couples there and they're spending time together. I like how you juxtapose that with all the bloodshed and carnage that begins to happen. I like how they meld the two, because here these three couples are supposed to be having a great romantic weekend alone together and having fun, and no, Big Ed's there and he's slicing them down one by one under this cold moon by the ocean. It's just, I like that juxtaposition of different things, you know, the three couples out to have some romance right by the water, and no, they're getting slayed down in the prime of their life. That's very dark and depressing when you think about it. And then we move on to the makeup effects. Mark Sjostrom and Anthony Sho did a brilliant job. I don't even think Tom Savini could have done a better job than what these guys did on this movie. The effects are top notch. You can't get any better than that. There's so much good blood on display. They got the color of the blood just right. The killings look great. It's just a feast for the eyes if you're a slasher fan. The music score is right on point. There is this really cool pounding drum that plays in certain stalking scenes with Big Ed, and this drum sounds like it's drenched in reverb or other effects, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like mimicking the sound maybe of Big Ed's heart as he's stalking these kids or what, but it really adds to the whole uneasiness of the film for sure. There's also this really depressing piano piece that plays right before the end credits, and I really like that piano piece. I wish it would have played over the entire end credits. During the end credits, they play kind of this goofy montage of outtakes of the main characters smiling behind the scenes and having fun. I think that's a cool little thing, but I really wish they wouldn't have done that, because the final 20 minutes of The Mutilator, that final 20 minutes is very suspenseful and it's very grim and very dark. And I just wish instead of having that silly little montage of outtakes, I wish they would have had it keep playing that depressing and somber piano piece over the end credits with total black background and just the names and just that sad piece. I really feel like it would have made the movie go out on an even more serious note, and I would have enjoyed that. Another thing is the suspense in this movie. The final 20 minutes are very suspense-filled, especially when little Ed and his girlfriend are in this car in front of the garage, and they're just panicking and flipping out because everyone else is dead, and they're trying to figure out how to escape. When they can't get it started and they don't know where Big Ed is at, and he's stalking them, and they're screaming and they're panicking, it is very, very fraught with tension. So excellent scene, excellent tension that this movie manages to conjure up using everything at its disposal. The music, the atmosphere, the violence, all of it combines and collides with you and just really gives you that good push over the cliff. I'll tell you, man, this movie, you gotta hang with it. I mean, the pacing, the first half, You got to hang with it as it sets the stage, but once it gets to nightfall and these kids start dying off, it starts to accelerate, and you'll really, really enjoy it if you like dark, gritty, violent slasher films. As far as cons go, you know, things that are to the detriment of the film, the only quibbles I would have are with some of the acting. Sometimes the acting from certain characters is too stiff and wooden. Other times, it's just way overplayed and over the top. Now, I can give a good example of being totally over top. The dude that, his name's Mike. He's the guy that meets his demise via the outboard motor when it slices up his chest and stomach and everything. Well, during that death scene, he really oversells it, and it makes it look unintentionally comical. I wish he wouldn't have done that because it's a vicious death scene, but this guy makes it kind of look goofy looking. He really overplays it. Oh yeah, and I must say, one more thing about that Mike character. When he talks, he's like a southern fried version of Nicolas Cage. He sounds like Nicolas Cage if Nick Cage grew up out in the country somewhere in South Carolina or something. That's what he's got that tone in the way he says his words. Other than some little quibbles with the acting, I mean, this movie is so above average in all other departments for a film of this nature, for a slasher movie. Man, this movie is an overachiever. You got some stiff acting and stuff, but in all the other departments, this movie is above average for sure. So to sum everything up, if you haven't seen The Mutilator, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. You've got to see it. It's required viewing for anyone who calls themselves a slasher movie fan. And I'll tell you what, definitely pick up this release right here. This Arrow release, like I said. You want to get this if you don't have it and you enjoy the movie, and you can learn a lot about the movie via all the special features. And also, if you're a collector, you'll want to pick up the Vestron VHS release, okay? Because it's it's Vestron and the Mutilator. How can you go wrong? So thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoy The Mutilator as much as I do, then click the like button and leave me a comment. I want to hear your feedback, what you think of this video and what you think of The Mutilator. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. I'm making new horror videos all the time, and I'd really appreciate it. And that's going to be all for tonight, and I'll see you guys next time.